Hello everybody, thanks again for coming and taking a look at our show. This is Bushido Gamer, where you game with passion and honor. So, today I'm solo, sorry about that. My friend wasn't able to make it today. So, we're going to do another game. The new game today is going to be Titanium Wars. So for some of you who have heard it before, Titanium Wars is kind of an older deck builder. You can find it off of Board Game Geeks. And I'll put the website on the bottom of the video. You can see it. It is from Iello. So this one actually is a pretty fun deck builder. This game it's basically kind of like space battle. So you have several leaders you can choose from, and you guys are battling for resources, battling for different planets, and it goes by victory points. So the person with the highest victory points, or gets to a certain victory points first, then they win. So this particular one I have actually is Titanium Wars, the base, and then you also have the first expansion I came out with, which I think is the only one, which is called Confrontation. And the nice thing with the Confrontation one is that it allows you to do a two-player game. Sorry, two-player, because the original base game for Titanium Wars is only a three-player or four-player game. But with the base, or with the expansion, now you can do a 2 to 4 player game. So they add a couple of cards, one called a mercenary card, to allow you to be able to balance it out and still be able to play two players and have fun with the game. Because sometimes it's kind of hard to get three people to play a game. Sometimes it's hard to get one person to play a game. So this game is pretty fun. We played it many times, actually several times now, a lot of times. And the way it works is you have your leader. So let's start this one. So I'm going to choose my leader, and there's several leaders you choose from. In fact, inside of the Confrontation expansion, it actually adds several more leaders to the game. So each leader has pretty much the same basic ability, or same basic stats. So the first one at the bottom has the little hexagons. That basically tells you how many things you can pack under this leader, so how many buildings you can actually hold under the leader. Then you have what looks like the old Star Trek symbol for the communicator. It's a ship. Well, you want to come join me, cat? So, sorry, but my cat come. All right, so it's a ship icon. This basically tells you how many ships you can have inside of your army. And then the yellow, or the kind of orangish rectangle with the number, that tells you how many tactic cards you can have, that you can hold in your hand. So, if I was to start off with this one, you got your leader and you start off with money. So yeah, the one draw on this one, it does have those little tiny paper money. They come in 500, 150, and it kind of actually looks like a cent. You know, it's kind of like more credits. But everything costs money in here to buy because it's a deck builder. So you are using your cash. You get 1,000 to start off with each turn. And then there are some cards like the Refinery, which will give you an additional 150. If you control a planet, sometimes they'll give you an additional amount as well, and things like that, so you can actually get more money coming in every turn. That more money you get allows you to be able to buy more cards. So let's go through a round. Alright, so I start off with 1,000. Oh, no. I start off with actually 15. So 1,500 you start off with. And when you start off, everybody can actually buy all of their items at the same time, all the things, and then everybody makes a decision if they're going to join the battle for the planet or not. Now here's the thing with the planet. Each one of the planet cards, they have one side is the planet, which tells you what you're going to get if you win it, but the other side has an effect. So what happens from here, you have your style of planets, and you flip over the top one. And on this planet, for example, it says no player is authorized to communicate, to negotiate with, or influence other players. I mean, basically, you can't say anything to anybody else as long as this is like this. So when that's face up, that's in effect until you defeat that, until you win, and then therefore you get the next planet. Okay. Now this particular planet, if you was to win it, it doesn't give you any extra money. However, it does give you 2 more building spots that you can put buildings under. You get +1 on your tactic card, which means now you can have 4 cards in your hand, 3 additional one on top of the one you get from your leader, and it has 3 victory points. So typically you play 7 to about 11, maybe 15 victory points, depending on how long of a game you want to do. And honestly, you do a 7 victory point game, that can be 3 planets or even 2 planets, and you can pretty much win the game right there. Okay, so we flip over the top one. If we rate read the effect out loud so everybody knows. So at this time, anybody who was playing, they wouldn't be able to communicate with each other. And then you go ahead and purchase your things. You can purchase wherever you want. Now, here goes the one thing though. On the top part of each one of the cards, there's a number. It says a tech number. So you have tech 0, tech 1, tech 2, and tech 3. Tech 3 is the highest one. In order for you to be able to obtain or use a tech 2 or a tech 1 or a tech 3 card, you have to have a laboratory. So the laboratory gives you +1 tech. So if you get +1 tech, you say you take a tech, you put it underneath one of your things, you can put a building spot. That counts as a building. So now I can do a level 1 tech. If I got 2 more laboratories and stack them in there too underneath. So now I can do 3 techs, which means I'm open to use anything on the board. Okay, but when you start off with it, excuse me, when you start off, you have 0 tech. So it means you can only get anything that has a tech 0. So let's say, and everybody's strategy is always different because there's a lot of cards here, and there's a lot of cards that some people will always use, and some people will not use. Basically, all based on what type of strategy they want to do. Me myself, I like to build up my tech and then go with the heaviest stuff I can go and just go all out. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So it kind of plays into whatever your strategy, which is good because you can always switch your strategy around and try a different way and try a different combination of cards in order to see if that works better for you. So let's say I have my leader, and I'm going to pay 500 to buy 2 fighter squadrons. So those are my unit ships. That gives me 300, and I'm going to use the last 200 to get a refinery. So that's 500 right there that I just spent. Then I'm going to pay another 500. I'm going to pick myself up a laboratory to increase my tech. That gives me a tech 1. So now I'm going to go ahead and use 300 more. And I'm going to pick up one of these corvettes and 2 more laboratories, or 2 more laser cannons. So I've pretty much filled up all my things. So once I get all my things, then I can go ahead and put them underneath my ship, or underneath my card. So that's my tech, or refinery. That's another building. That's going to go underneath my hero, my leader. And then I can hold 3 army units, so 3 units of ships. So I got 3 ships. I got 2 fighter squadrons and a corvette. My laser cannon is going to increase the attack power for each one of my for any one I put it on. So I'm gonna put 1 on my fighter squadron to give it a attack power of 3, and put 1 on my corvette to give it a attack power of 3. So your ships have 2 numbers in them. They have an attack power or attack point, and they have a defense. The defense, of course, is how many damage counts they can take, and then the attack is how much damage they can deal. So in this case right now, my fighter squadrons, this one does 3 and 5, this one's 2 and 5, this one is 3 and 7 for my corvette, which is a higher one. Now, once everybody has finished with their buying phase, with purchasing their stuff, then let me get my tech cards too. I forgot about those. Then you go ahead and say, okay, now you decide battle. So when you decide battle, you're going to look at your tech cards, or your tactic cards. Now on your tactic cards, it's going to tell you what activates this card. So like for example, this one is cruiser and destroyers, this one is fighter squadron and corvettes, this one is destroyers. So I'm going to use the one that says fighter squadron and corvettes, because that's what this activates. Now since I have fighter squadron and corvette, then I can activate all of them to be able to get damage counters. And the target, you can target all types of ships, minefields, defense turrets, and repair drones. So let's say that my opponent has a fighter squadron, okay? And I play this one, it's called Assault. So what I'm gonna do is I'll put it face down, they'll put theirs face down, we'll just let's choose one for them. There we go. Actually, no. We want to put something interesting for this one. I have one that actually does all of them. So There we go. Okay. All right. So each player who's going to join the combat puts a tactic card face down. Okay. Now the turn player is determined by the little turn token right here. So it goes around. On this round, say it's mine, and then next round it goes to the next person, then the next person, that's like this. That way you know which the turn order is going to be. The person with the turn token, they're the one who's going to call it out. I put it out. I'm here. I'm doing first. 3, 2, 1, and then we flip over our cards. Now when we flip the cards over, on the top there's a number. That number is the order in which the cards are played, and it goes from low to high. Okay, so 7, of course, would play after a 3. 0 plays before 1, things like that. Now, in the event that you have 2 players that both played the same card, means the same number, then preference goes to whoever's closer to the turn player's turn. So if we're playing 4 people and I'm a turn player and me and a third person played the same card, and then since I'm the turn player, I get to do my damage first, and then they do damage, but it's also simultaneous. So now, in this case, when you flip it over, it tells you what activates. In this case, this one is massive attack. It does all your ships and planetary supports, and it can target any ship. My fighter squadron and corvettes are activated, and I can target any ship. So when you do this, you say, okay, I got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I got 8 total token or total damage I can do because I can activate all my ships. So I'm gonna pick up some of these little damage tokens. Now these damage tokens, you have either 1s and you have the bigger ones, which are 4s. Okay, so let's say he had a fighter squadron, he had 2, so they take the 2 right there to do 2 damage tokens. Since mine is lower, I get to apply my damage first. So I'm gonna say, okay, you know what? I'm gonna take 2, 3, 4, and 5. So for all the damage counts I have, I dealt 5 damage to him. Then he deals his 2, because it's a simultaneous attack. And after that, you discard the tactic card that you was using. This allows you to draw up another tactic card to replace the one you have. And then for free, you can also switch at just one time one of your other tactic cards, discard it, and draw one more. Now, if you want to do additional ones, you got to pay 100. I think it's 100 credits for each additional card after the first one that you want to swap out. And then you look at who's on the field. So if my opponent's last ship got destroyed and they no longer have any ships left on the field, and they have no ships, or they have no ships on the field, then they can't enter combat anymore. So therefore, by default, I would win. And when I win, I take the planet, add that to mine. I get whatever the bonus is it says on it. So now I can get an additional tactic card, and I have 2 more build spots. But this one they give me money. Then the next planet we flip over, and now a new effect comes into play. Okay, that's pretty much it. You can build up your army any way you want. Each one of the army units has a little icon at the bottom which tells you how many upgrades it can be on there. Alright, so when you first look at the game, you see all these cards in here, all these cards, and you're like, wow, it's a lot of cards. You think that it's going to be a complicated game, but it really isn't complicated. Once you start playing a game, it's a piece of cake. It's really fast. It's a really easy game to play, and it actually doesn't take much time. On the box it says it takes about 60 to 90 minutes, but honestly we did it in about 30 to 60 minutes. So it's a really quick game. Let me explain the cards. So when you separate them out, and you can decide how you want to separate them. I like to separate them the same way that the rule book tells you to do so. You separate it out. You have your planet up here. That's going to be the top of the area. The first area is your units. Okay. Now I do your unit ship first, starting from low to high, from low tech to highest tech, from lowest cost to highest cost. So that we have a fighter squadron and cruisers. Fighter squadron is 150, cruisers are 400. From here, your Tech 1, you have, your Tech 1 unit ship. This is a new ship inside of the Confrontation expansion. It's a Corvette, costs 300. Tech 2 has an attack of 2 and a defense of 7. Then you have your Destroyer, which is a 900 credit cost. And it's a Tech 2 as well, 5 and 13 defense. And then you have your other units. Now the other units, you can have these units, but they still count as part of your army. Here go the thing: when you go into battle, if you're gonna join a battle to fight for a planet for control, you have to go into battle with a ship. Which means if you don't have a fighter squadron, a destroyer, a cruiser, or a corvette, you can't enter the battle. Even if you have these units like the interstellar missile, defense turret, minefield, repair drone, even if you have those, you cannot join the battle unless you have a actual unit that says unit ship out on your field. Okay. And then so you have your minefield, which is kind of a one-time use one. When it dies, it just deals blast damage to everybody. Your repair drone is important because repair drone allows you to remove damage counters off of your ships during the turn. Okay. Then you have your interstellar missile and you have your defense turrets. Okay. Then the next one is your upgrades. Your upgrades are your laser cannon, which adds +1 to your attack. Your armor adds +2 to your defense. Your self-destruct. If one of your creatures, if one of your ships is destroyed, then if you have a self-destruct on it, it deals an additional 1 damage to all the units destroyed. I think. You have your hyperdrive, which allows you to do 1 evasion, so you can actually skip getting damage on it for 1 turn. You have your magnetic target, which makes your opponent target that one particular ship that you have that on, and then you have your blast shield, which increases, which gives you a little shield so you can actually hold off an attack. And a new one with the update, I think it's a blast shield, and also you have your combat computer, which has an AI control. Actually, I don't know what this one does. This one, in a simultaneous attack, resolve your tactic before the other players and ignore opponent's diversions. And diversion is a tactic card that allows you to say, okay, you know what, you cannot attack me during this turn, and this ignores it. Then at the bottom you have your buildings. So you have your refinery, which increases your credits you get each turn, 150. You have your starport, which gives you an additional army unit that you can put in play. Your laboratory, as I explained before, that increases your tech, and you have a max of 3 that you can do. Your orbital, what's this one? Your orbital platform, which is one of the newer cards. This one is considered this because to be a planet, limit 1 to player. It's just another planet, basically. It gives you additional building spots for 600. It's kind of expensive. You have your flagship, which is another new card inside of the expansion. This one gives you +1 attack, +5 defense, and you can also increase your tactic card count by 1. You only have one per player on this one though. You have your planetary support. This is another attack card. In fact, actually, if you have this on your planet and or your leader, and you draw a card like mass attack, for example, you can actually include your planetary supports in those damage counters. And the nice thing is that they can't destroy this one that's under here, so you always have it. Then you have your recycling plant, which allows you to recycle one of your units or buildings. Your command center, which increases your tactic card count, and then you have your what's this one? Your cyber factory, which increases your one more. It gives 1 more upgrade unit to all of your ships that you have. So that's pretty much the game right there. So the game, it's like I said, it's a fun game. It's really easy to play. They have a nice little cheat sheet here, a little cheat card that kind of gives you an idea of what you can do each turn. And yeah, so rating on this game, I think, as far as gameplay, fun factor, the theme, the replayability, I would say with the gameplay, is I would say about a 4, and I'll give it a 4 because it's not slow. It's not slow gameplay. I mean, the slowest thing in the gameplay is everybody buying stuff, but then you go and do your battle and it's over like that, and then you go into the next stage, you do it again, it's over like that, and the game can end really fast. Fun factor, it is a fun game. I would give it a good strong 4 on that one. If you have people who, even if you have people who don't know what they're doing, it's easy to teach them. So you can actually get new people to play this game very easily. It's actually a really easy game to play. The theme is pretty cool. everything kind of stays consistent. It's like a futuristic space battle theme. So you're have like ships and stuff you're going with. One thing that'd be really cool if they had it would be to have like little miniatures that you can have on the battlefield. But you know that's some people like them, some people don't. But for the theme, I'll give it a good 4. I'm easy. 4 for the theme. The pictures are beautiful. The pictures are nice pictures, nice graphics on them. There's not too much wording to where you have to sit there and read a paragraph of stuff to understand what the card does. So that I think was good. Replayability. Well, we played this game probably at least a dozen times, and some of them we played like 2 or 3 games in a row. So I would say it has a good amount of replayability. One thing that really gives it I would give it a 4 about 4 score for the replayability, if not 5, is the fact that because there's so many different cards that you can use, you can switch up your strategy every time you play if you wanted to. You're not stuck with the same strategy. You can mix up your strategy and say, you know what, this time I'm going to go with my cruiser and I'm going to do repair drones, and I'm not going to go anything past the Tech 0. I'm just going to do all Tech 0, maybe Tech 1 stuff. If you want to do that, you can. You don't have to do the same strategy all the time, because you can try out different methods of winning and see how they work. That way it makes you as a player more versatile. So overall, it's a great game. I highly recommend playing it. It is an older game, I know. So if you can find it, get it. The expansion, I will tell you, that was hard for me to find. I finally did find somebody who had the expansion and wasn't charging a ridiculous amount of money for it off of Amazon. So I was able to get the expansion, which added some more playability to it, as well as some more cards, and also made it to where you can play 2 players. The rules, I forgot the rules. So the rules, I'd have to give the rules probably a 3 out of the 5. And the only reason why is because even when I first started playing the game, yes, the game is easy to play. Once you get the hang of it, it's easy to play. But reading through the rules, the conquest part, that's the part that was a little confusing. And there was a couple of things that was like kind of unanswered questions. But I will say one thing though. Actually, I'm going to give them a 4 for the rules. The only reason I'm going to give them a 4 instead of the 3 I'm going to give them is the fact that even though the game is old, there's actually people who have played the game and still play the game. And when you was able to go, you can go into the BGG forums and ask a question in regards to the game stuff, and people there will answer it for you. So when I needed some clarification, I went online. I kind of said, hey, you guys, what's the ruling on this? And it was actually a pretty active forum, and a lot of people were there, and some days was really helpful. So that I would say that kind of helped the rules a little bit. So I'll give them a 4, maybe a 3.5 for the rules, 2.5. Other than that, it's a good game. I recommend getting it. I will put the website link on the page. That's my cat. Hi, Sebastian. Say hi. Okay. Get out. So you guys can check it out. I highly recommend it. If you attend any of the strategic kind conventions, which one just passed last week, and the next one is in May, during Labor Day or during Memorial Day weekend. In LAX, over at the Hilton at LAX. If you're joining that convention, I recommend checking out the game library and check out Titanium Wars. I'm pretty sure they have a copy over there. And just check it out and play it. And if you need help playing it, guess what? I will be there, because I have my game I'll be doing it there too. So this was Bushido Gamer, me on Solo Project today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was educational, I guess you could say. Hope you learned something about the game. Try this game out. It is a fun game to play. Get some people and have some fun. The next game that we're going to do next week is, so I do get to pick up a new one. Actually, next week we're going to do Harry Potter and Hogwarts Battle. I like that game. That game is fun, and we're gonna go ahead and do that game. One that's a little bit more up to the time, I guess you can say, more recent. So we're gonna do that one, and we're gonna do that one. And we have one more game we're gonna do in our deck builder series. After that, we're gonna go to some different games, and I'm actually going to do a review on one of my friends' games called Eternal Kings. because his game is funded on Kickstarter. It is a fun game to play, and I highly recommend you guys try it out. So we're going to do a review on that one too, okay? Anyway, this is William, by myself, the Bushido Gamer, and as always, game with passion, game with honor. Peace out, you guys.